do this, and he sent me, interestingly enough, he sent me this this document. I forget what the name of it was, but it was by Mary Elizabeth Croft, and it was on this whole proof of claim thing, and how I think it was called cracking the code, or how I clobbered the banks, one of those sorts of things. When I read that, it just blew my head off. I was just like, oh shit, you know, I can't believe this stuff. It was like somebody had woken me up from this bad dream. It was exactly like the Matrix, you know. And so when I studied that, I then just went off on an incredible journey of having to know and research everything. So I just was downloading, and studying laws and corporations acts and all of this stuff. And I came kind of full circle, and then earlier this year she actually bought my CD and bought my DVD. I had a letter from her, and so I emailed her and was asking her some questions, and she mentioned something about a case, a court case that she was involved with, and I offered to help out. And so the lady, it turned out the lady who I'd initially learnt from ended up asking me for advice. And so I ended up giving her some stuff that she didn't know about to help her out with her court case, which was about proof of claim and things that she didn't know about. So that was really cool, because she'd been doing it for 30 years. Now,
because there was something on a current affair, I can't remember, it sounds very, very similar, but they basically had a house and paid council rates.
oh yeah, I can tell you all about that one.
Yeah, and did they create their own royal family or something with a king and a queen? Or
yeah, that was just kind of a bit of a joke, because you can do that. Basically, what
that's incidentally, I think that's why the media gave it coverage, because it was, you know, trivialised the whole thing, made it like a little
make it a joke,
novelty.
Yeah,
and people just go, oh yeah, sure you can do that.
You know,
they have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a chuckle, you know. Oh, look at it. Okay, essentially, what you can do, land is ours. Okay, nobody really owns it as per se, right? The government kind of holds it for us, okay, until we reclaim it, which sounds strange. So what you can do is you can actually do a quick claim on the land and go back and check all of the titles to the land, and you can actually get the original title and make sure that you own everything and there's no encumbrances. And then you declare yourself a state. Okay, so you declare yourself to be your own state. It might be the state, you can make up whatever name you want to, right? And that's what these guys have done. They declared themselves a state because the government was denying them access to their land. And if you notice, everybody has a medium strip on their land, right? Even here, okay, certain people have been fined for parking their car with the arse end hanging over in their own driveway, mind you, but the arse end of it is on this supposed, you know, invisible medium strip that the council owns, okay? And you're blocking this kind of fictitious, invisible piece of land. And I'm sure that the governments make a median strip so that they control access to your land, right? And so anyway, that's what that was all about. So these guys, you know, and just to kind of formalise it, you know, they decided to become king and queen of their own state, and so everyone can do that.
Wouldn't that exclude you from taxation and stuff?
You can make up your own rules. You can do whatever you like, because you become what we all are, sovereign. We're all sovereign.
At the same time, if you did that, wouldn't they be able to say, well, we're not going to supply things like power and water?
Sure. And so what he had done is he'd actually gone and made agreements, which you can do as well. You go and make an agreement with a utility supplier, or with a phone company, and you have an agreement with them to supply something. You know, yeah. But I don't think they weren't paying council rates.
Yeah.
It's all about agreements. Now we're going to pop back to these credit card ones. Let me just open this up here. It doesn't matter if we drop off on the recording.
What do you think would happen if this got out in the public and everybody started doing it? would they be able to change the law?
You can't change laws, okay, because we don't own the laws.
Would they use force to change the laws?
What I would be afraid of happening is of opening a Pandora's box and having subversive groups, or perhaps even bikies, or misusing the system. Because the key point in all of this stuff is that we all have to take back our sovereignty. We have to take back our responsibility for our actions, and we basically do. I mean, when I journey on the roads, on the common ways of the land, I still abide by the general speed limit, even though I'm not subject to it. I still accept, and there's a certain level of responsibility that everyone else is doing this. I stop at the red lights. I do all those things because it's the naturally accepted kind of passage.
So, like, the fact that people out there have bothered to say do experiments or tests into and research what is a safe way to conduct yourself.
Sure.
And so you're taking that as
I accept. I agree. Basically, to go along with that, even though I'm not subject to it. For example, if they said I was speeding, okay, it wouldn't apply to me. So I generally accept, the status quo, and by doing that, I take responsibility for my own actions.
Like you were saying before, the problem in this being is that people who aren't generally we'll say law-abiding, but people who go out and deliberately do the wrong thing by other people would be able to then use this to manipulate the system to get off.
Sure, if they studied it and knew how to do it,
your average person who treats other people well and isn't a bad person.
So could you go to the extreme, go out and murder someone, get arrested and use these techniques to stay out of jail?
Oh, I won't answer it. I won't answer those questions. However,
wait a minute.
anyone can.
In theory,
in theory.
Sorry, you can't just go through all of this.
But for those people who might be listening,
out of answering a question like that.
But I don't want to prompt anyone to do anything. You can see what I'm coming from.
No, but you've got to be clear about where they're coming from. You can't sort of outline
in theory,
like this, and then when you're challenged at a point that's a really bit too hard, sort of duck out of it and say no.
Okay, well, in theory, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
You could any one of us could take a gun and go and shoot someone, right? But it's not morally right to do so.
Back in the instance where you're in court and the judge wasn't asking you those questions, you're responding in a way where that you're putting the question back on him. What happens in the end of that court session?
Dismissed.
He just says, court dismissed, thrown out the case.
Yeah, because he's not able to gain jurisdiction over you.
But you could just do a little slip up with one word and then he's got you.
Yeah. You'd have to really work to get back out of it again. If once he's got you, it would be difficult, but you could do it. But the best way is to stay out of it, and the best way is not to go to court, obviously, with good paperwork. So I'm going to just try and open up here.
I guess the if people had intent to follow that path and initiate all the processes, primarily for let's call it antisocial behavior, I think they'd probably find it a lot easier to do what criminals, corporate criminals to street criminals do all the time, and just do it anyway, and just use
and just get a really good lawyer to get you off anyway.
Whatever. So that's probably for them easier. Just pay some money to get the right actor to.
Okay. I've located the files now. I'm just going to open these up and read you something here. Now this is getting back to the issue of credit card fraud and credit card debt. Now there's no such thing as debt. I just want to make that very clear. There is no such thing as debt. This